Okay, okay. So this is a quick run through the new way for that students are going to be accessing library resources. So once they're onto Moodle and all the Moodle accounts should have been given and passwords given by now, the students should have access to Moodle. The old sidebar, so returning students will notice that the sidebar's gone. So there's no longer a sidebar with quick links on it, which is where the summon search bar used to be. That's gone. And so for students to access all library information, they go to key links, and then down sort of midway through that drop-down menu is libraries. Once they click through to that, the learning resources page on the handbook has been replaced by this this learning resources. Effectively, it's the same sort of platform as we put our modules on. So it's been replaced by this effectively module, libraries module. There's 3 tabs across the top here. This welcome to St Mellitus Libraries, sort of general information. There's an expanded FAQ, and then a first time signing into Discovery. As they come down here, what used to be the summon search bar that was embedded on every page is now available here, and it's the Discovery search bar. And I'll show you how to use that in a minute. The hub link is here as well. So if students want to access the hub, that's the link there. There's a whole load of different videos. There's a whole series of drop-down menus on this first page. Discovery, this is a series of user videos to show them different elements of using Discovery. There's a couple that are going to be more useful for you to know about that I'll point to in a minute. Same for the hub, a couple of videos on how to use the hub. I need to update those though, because it's showing them how to access the hub from before the Moodle change happened. So I need to update those videos. There's some key contacts. This will be a useful thing for you guys to know for who to point students to if they come to you with questions. That's there for you. Basically, if it's about accessing Discovery, so that is our authentication procedure, that's Victoria. If it's questions about anything else around the national provision of resources, it's me. So that's using Discovery or access about the hub or just general queries. For questions about the London Library, it's to Fiona, and East Midlands Library to me, and South West Library to Louis. So those are the key contacts for you to know where to point people to. There's this of what's new in the library thing, which is just a collection of all the new resources we bought. And also when there's a particularly important book we would like to point our students to, we're going to do this new video where a relevant member of staff says, this is a great new book, here's why you should read it. So Johnny's done one on David Moffat's new book, and we'll keep that, probably update that termly or so. There's this learning support section, which is currently hidden from students. This is where Ellie's going to be writing something to put in to help our students with specific learning differences access resources and other additional support for them. And then there's these other things that we've just been carried over direct from the handbook, the library book request form, the library book extract depository. And then there's this centre specific library information. So if there's something that you, Fiona in London, or you, Louis in the Southwest, want to put this up for your students to show them how the specifics of the way your libraries work. So this is the one that's been done for these Midlands, which is just outlining the specifics of working in the East Midlands Library. And we'll give this as a link to our students on the library induction. And then accessing other libraries, which is just carried straight over from the old place on the handbook. So the FAQ, probably the most useful thing for you to know or for you to be aware of, because I think it's the thing that is going to trip the students up the most. I'll talk you through. So there's a whole load of questions that the students can just toggle down to get the actual response to the question. The thing that students will come up against quite a lot is to do with Oxford handbooks or Oxford Academic and Cambridge core resources. These are really patchy in the way they carry through authentication credentials, and so they need to remind the system that they have access pretty much every time. I don't know why that is. It's just the way these platforms seem to work. So there's some guidance given there on how to do it, but there is also a video telling them how to do that in the discovery slot on the main page. Over here, down at the bottom, access to Oxford Academic Cambridge Core. That takes them through the process of how to do that. So if you've got students saying, I can't access my Oxford Handbooks reading, point them to that video. Another FAQ to know about is to do with student emails, how to sign in. So all our students, Peterstream, Calebstream, and auditors should have access to Discovery. But they don't necessarily have a Simplitis email, which is the way in which it's which is the normal chain of authentication is from the Simplitis email. So to access without a Simplitis email, the students have to go to that FAQ and find it there, but they should have access and that they follow the steps there. The other thing to be aware of is that the way these search engines work, so Discovery is basically a big search engine within which we have inputted a range of indexes that search across a huge range of different aggregated packages. But we don't have access to all those aggregated packages. So Discovery will turn up a whole load of results that students can't get access to. I've tried to mitigate that by placing as a default filter available in our library collection. So that should mitigate that a bit. So rather than putting in a term and getting 300,000 results back, well, 250,000 of which they can't access, now it'll turn up 50,000 of which 10,000 they can't access, or that sort of thing. So it's mitigated a bit, but it's still not perfect. The reason that I don't understand why we have to have those indices all toggled on to come to Discovery, but apparently the whole system breaks if you don't. So we can't do that. So there are still going to be resources that turn up on the platform that they can't actually access. So if students come to you asking that sort of question, just explain to them that the indices are broader than our subscribed packages, and the indices have to show up in order for the system to work. There is a question somewhere in here that's to do with that effect. Why can't I access many of the results on Discovery? Explains that to the students. It's just a feature of these large search platforms, which is a bit of a nuisance, but that's the way it is. The other thing that students often hit up against is that module leaders might stick a link to the hub on their module guide bibliography. If they don't do it in a certain way, those links won't work. They'll expire after a day. And then they get the error message when they try to access the hub resources. And then they think, oh, it's not working, I better give up. There's a question somewhere on here about that. Here we go. Why does the link through to the hub on the hub not work? So you can point them to that part of the FAQ. So hopefully this will mean that you don't need to have the answers to these questions. You can just point them to the FAQ and say, go and look there. That's why it's not working. I'm afraid you're going to have to open the hub manually and search for it. What a drag. So that's some of the most important FAQs for you to know about. Okie dokie. The other thing, as students are getting integrated on our system, is this tab, first time signing into Discovery. So they have not, historically, all our students have received an email from Open Athens saying, please would you register? That's all been done automatically this year. If they have a Simplitis email. If they don't have a Simplitis email, they will still need to go through that step. So auditors, Calebers, Peterstreamers. But the norm of our students who have a Simplitis email, it's all done automatically. So the first time they're signing into Discovery, they just follow the steps here, and it should all work pretty seamlessly. We've had 2 students so far contact us saying it's not worked, and that's just because their Open Athens credentials haven't been activated, and it's a really quick fix. So the system seems to be working fine. So you can just tell, so this is correct information. What first time signing onto Discovery is working so far as we know. So you can point them to that confidently. And if it doesn't work, it's likely because their Open Athens credentials haven't been toggled on properly. and that they just need to email me and Victoria, and we'll sort that out for them. Okay. Any questions around the Moodle page? Because I'm about to shift us off onto the Discovery platform itself. Yeah, Fiona.
Just a couple of questions. The difference between Discovery and Hub, how's that explained?
Right. Thank you. So there's this little blurb up here. This second paragraph explains the difference.
Right.
So all the modules. So Discovery and Hub. So Discovery is the St. Mellitus owned platform, which houses all the St. Mellitus owned resources, print and digital. The Hub supplements Discovery. It's a smaller platform which is managed by the Common Awards team, and it's common to all TEIs. So we don't manage the Hub, we just have access to it. At the minute, module guide should specify if a resource is available on Discovery or the Hub. If it doesn't, then it's the module leader who needs to update it. Generally they do, but students are, having two platforms isn't ideal.
So the process is Discovery first, then Hub. Is that right?
So the module guide should point them to what so if they're using a resource, if they're trying to find a resource they've been pointed to from a module bibliography, they should be told on the module bibliography which platform to use. If they're just doing a general search and they're wanting to build up a reading list for a topic, Discovery is the one to use because it's much larger.
Okay, helpful.
Yeah.
And is it Discovery that will specify to a student the text they're looking for is in the library, or it will actually specify in there where the item is?
Yeah, Discovery does that, and I'll show you how that works in a minute.
Okay. And final question: the beginning theology students.
Yeah. Beginning theology student. Whether they have access, do you mean?
Yeah.
That is a great question, Fiona. Thank you. I'm going to have to. I'll pick that up with Grace. They can. I think there's no technical reason why they shouldn't.
Right.
It's unless there is a limit to our subscription, limit to our capacity in Open Athens, but I don't think there is. It's just whether they have been registered properly within Open Athens.
Yeah, that would just help, because we've got a set of textbooks that are set aside out of the catalogue just for beginning theology, but previously they weren't allowed to take any books out of the library, and I just feel now's the time to just clarify, as we're extending the beginning theology offer, I think, with the online and the Thursday evening.
Yeah.
Just understanding those students, because in a sense, if they're in person on a Thursday in London, currently the library's not manned.
Yeah. Okie dokie. The limiting factors will be either a limit on Open Athens registration that we have. Well, I don't know if there is or not. I don't think there is. The other will be making sure that we can open up all resources to beginning theology students while still resourcing accredited modules. That will be the pressure points. So we'll need to take some advice on that, I think, from Grace and probably Steve.
Yeah, so it's just getting a decision on it rather than it being a no man's land, if you get me.
Yeah. I don't think there are any technical reasons why they shouldn't.
No.
There might be other reasons.
I think for hubs we need permission from Common Awards, but that could be like a simple email.
Yeah, that's true. So for Hub it would need permission from Common Awards. Okay, so I'll bring that up with Grace and Steve, and then get back to you, Fiona.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is Hub. I won't show you because it's the same as, well, they've updated in the same way we've updated Moodle, but it's the same interface. So Discovery works in exactly the same way. The Discovery search bar works like the Summon search bar did before. You type in your search terms, and you'll be transferred through. Okay, so one of the major reasons we shifted from Discovery, from Summon to Discovery, was this. For Summon, if you wanted to know where a print resource was, you go through to Summon, then have to hop off to Heritage to find the thing. And about 50% of the time, that link didn't work.
Yeah.
Discovery and Heritage actually integrate with one another, so you can read the availability data where it is, its availability, and shelf mark off the same place that you're off the platform direct. So that was one of the big reasons we made the shift. So hopefully this will make it much easier for students to access our resources. So you can show less, show more, all that sort of thing. It also, like Summon, is the place from which you jump off to get access to digital resources. So it differentiates it by signaling the type of resource it is. If you're doing a global search like we're doing here,
yeah.
So there it says ebook. I can't fiddle with that to make that more explicit. I don't really like that. I wish it had a visual icon that says it's an ebook or a print book, but I haven't found a way to fiddle with it yet. I've put in a technical support request that they do that for us, but at the minute it's not that clear. I want to make it clearer.
Sorry, Alex, when you say you've put in a request to they, who's the they then?
So the EBSCO team. So the other big reason for shifting was to get the ProQuest support was done via submitting an electronic ticket, and then someone in that system picks it up at some point, and it's all housed on their platform. It's a nightmare. EBSCO have got a service body within the UK who actually respond personally, and I have personal email addresses for them, and Louis and I sort of manage that together. So we just upload a request, well we give them a request, and then they do whatever they're doing. So that's the day. It's the EBSCO technical support team. So I should say the company behind Discovery is EBSCO. The company behind Summon was ProQuest.
Right.
ProQuest are solely based in the US. They didn't have offices in the UK. EBSCO have got offices in the UK. So it makes it much easier to get support. So you can access information of print resources, and you can also jump off to ebooks. I will show you this one now. Most often, the access options and then full text finder, that's the link resolver to send you out to whatever data, whatever platform the text is housed on. Most of our resources are still housed on ProQuest. With the ProQuest eBook Central, and that works well. This particular resource is something I'm working on at the minute, which is linking out to the hub. So this is an experimental thing that hopefully in time, all hub resources will be available to search on Discovery. So we can ditch the whole hub Discovery composite thing. But it's not there yet. We've got about a third of the hub resources on there. So this will resolve out to the hub. What it's doing is going back onto Moodle and then hopping off to the hub again. And there you go. So it jumps off to the hub like that. Okay. But we're not there fully yet. Oh. So okay. What most will send you out to ProQuest. So this will look very familiar. So most will send you out to ProQuest like that. And that's where about 20,000 or so of our ebooks are being kept, because that's the subscription package we have. Okay. So the filters work in much the same way as they did with Summon. Students can, and there's videos that teach students how to use these various filters. Probably the two most important ones. So you'll see they're available in library collections already toggled on. That's what I did to offset the that's now the basic parameter. They can toggle it off if they want to see broader indices, but that's now toggled on. So they're largely going to, it's not perfect, but they're largely going to only see that which is in our, we actually can provide them access to. The most useful thing to know for students are ebooks. So they can toggle that on to just find ebooks. Or if they're in a particular centre and they want to know what's in their centre, they can toggle on only that which is in their particular centre. So those are probably the two most useful things for them to know and for you to help them with. So Fiona, if a student comes to you and they want to know what's in London, you just, well, toggle on London, you'll be away. And obviously Louis, for you down in Plymouth, same thing. Okay, what else we say about? So we've done basic search, we've done advanced search, print text search, ebook search, hub link out. A good thing that Discovery does is it gives students the capacity to search within a particular journal. So let's say that they want to search within the Journal of Anglican Studies. They can just type that open. Now they've got a derivative, sort of a subsequent search box in there that they can just search within the Journal of Anglican Studies for everything for or about Sarah Coakley. And surprisingly, there's nothing in Journal of Anglican Studies about Sarah Coakley. But there we go. But so they can search within journals. Okay. The other thing that is a development beyond Summon is when you go to the overview page, this is linked to their email address, and so it's a personalized environment. So they each have their own window into Discovery, their own platform. They each have their own window into Discovery where they can personalize it to a degree. The most important thing they can do around that is this function called projects. So this allows them to make a bespoke bookshelf for the different projects that they're doing. So they might, for example, be about to start out on 5D. So they can create a new project. They do that by toggling that white arrow in the blue box. Let's say it's 5D, and it's due, I don't know, I should know, I'm module leader. It's due sometime in January. So they create the project, and they've now got a bookshelf effectively for 5D. And they can go through the module bibliography and search for relevant books, and then they can just add it to project like that. And they can build basically what's going to become their bibliography in the essay. So there it is in 5D, and they can just build that up over time.
Yeah.
There's a test selection that I've made, which is all the different types of links out from Discovery that we can keep an eye on to make sure everything's working as it should. So if you wanted to set something like that up for your own library, there's worse ideas.
Yeah.
The other thing to know about is Publication Finder, which has changed its formatting. I've never seen this before. So if a student is struggling to find something, this is a more specific search engine that won't turn up 25,000 results. It's just going to turn up one, which is specific to what they need. So if they're struggling to find something, send them to Publication Finder. And that's a more specific search engine. The other thing to know about, this is the last thing, is this thing Concept Map. Now, I am not yet sold on this particular thing, but it could be useful for students. So Concept Map, let's say if a student hears a term in a lecture and they don't know what it is, and they don't know how to begin to build a search to find relevant stuff around it, they can come into this and they can see the various things that the central concept's related to. So let's say they hear the word Christology in a lecture and they don't understand what it is. They can come in here, type Christology into the concept map, and they begin to see it in its network of relationships. Oh. And from here, they can begin to think, oh, look, Christology is related to soteriology. And they might think, right, what's the relationship between these two? So to do that, they can just build the search manually. So you add to the search and you see it's turning up in the search builder over here. and then you add to search, and then you can build a search in that way. So now that has enabled them to focus on essays in Christology and soteriology. So the concept might be particularly useful for visual learners who like to see things in the network of relations, or it might be useful for students just getting a starter in an area. It does tend to throw up some pretty weird relationships. It's not a bespoke theological concept map, so it does chuck up some really weird connections too. So students need to have, there's a health warning attached to the concept map. So whenever your students are using it.
So
And then there's
it's a wide net, basically, Alex.
It's what, yeah. I get the feeling that it's something that they're working on, that is it's sort of Gen 1 of whatever's coming next for them using AI and search functions.
Yeah.
The other thing is supplemental sources. These are other sources that we think might be useful to our students. And these are just links through to other areas, other websites. And that's a lot. That's the new Discovery platform and where it's housed on Moodle. Is there any questions around all that?
I'm so sorry, but could you just explain another time? How did you get here?
Yeah, thanks, Nias. So I'll close all that up. So I'm back on the overview page, the landing page of Moodle. So once someone's logged in, they turn up here.
Yeah.
Key links, libraries, and then the Discovery search bar there.
No, I mean the EBSCO profile.
Oh, the concept map. Oh, sorry. The concept map. So it's on this left-hand sidebar once it's loaded. So it's this left-hand sidebar just here.
So
concept map.
Through Discovery, you type something and it takes you on this page, and then you get the left side menu and everything else.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
So how do you get
come through to
Discovery page to here?
Yeah, exactly. That's my question as well.
How do I get from Discovery page to here?
Yeah.
So when a student comes through this route, they're going to
Yeah.
come through to the search terms. The alternative, and we're going to make this available to students as well, well, we have made it available, is the URL that they can save as a bookmark. When they try and access through the URL via a bookmark, or just they're going to turn up on the main landing page of Discovery. So that's the main landing page with no particular searches inputted. And it's always there on the left-hand sidebar. So whenever you're in Discovery, these links will be there.
Which can be personalized and
But currently it's not the case. Is that right, Alex?
Yeah, currently, well, so where they'll access from the search bar is exactly the same. So it's all still there, but it's come into your search results rather than coming into an empty search.
Okay.
So the sidebar's still there. Sorry, my search terms don't mean anything. That's probably not helping. But the sidebar's still there in either case. It's just what you see as you immediately come in.
But to get to that blank EBSCO Discovery page that you've got there, you have to go through a bookmark, not from the Discovery page. Is that right?
No, so to get there, sorry, I rushed through that a bit. To get there, let me go back to the libraries page.
Yeah.
I have to minimize it because my screen gets hidden behind the various Zoom links.
Libraries. Yeah.
So there we are on the libraries page.
Yeah.
So we have there is a distinct URL. This here is the URL for the St. Mellitus Discovery platform. All this search bar is doing is providing a means of access to that URL. The other way a student can access Discovery is by getting this URL here and just putting it in as though they're looking for a web page. And then when they're there, they just bookmarks, and then they can add it to their bookmarks. So then they just have a quick link through. They're not having to go through Moodle.
I was going to say that's outside Moodle, isn't it?
So the reason that we don't really like this way is that it takes them outside of Moodle. So if they wanted to hop onto the hub, their Moodle credentials won't necessarily be in the authentication trail. So everything in Discovery will still work that way, but the link through to the hub will then become a problem.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But at the moment, they can't get a blank Discovery search like this unless they go outside Moodle. Is that right?
Yeah, so if they wanted to come onto this empty page, just a clean page, they would have to use the link. Okay. The search, so if they come through this route, sorry, if they come via the search bar, then they'll get access to Discovery in exactly the same way they got access to Summon, which is a populated search.
Right.
So that will be familiar to our returning students, that mode of accessing a platform, because this is how they used to get into Summon. You never got into Summon with an empty search bar.
Right.
And when you go to that link, it's actually EBSCO. So EBSCO and Discovery are the same thing, are they?
Yeah. So EBSCO are the company that produced Discovery. So ProQuest are the company that produced Summon. EBSCO are the company that produced Discovery.
Right. It's just keeping the branding consistent, really, so people don't think they're in another place.
Oh, yeah. What, when they land in Discovery? Or
land in the EBSCO blank page.
Have a look.
Yeah, why did they choose a different name?
So it's still recognizable in that there's still the same left hand. It's just that this is now populated with a search term rather than an empty search term. Yeah. So we'll have to see how it goes. If it proves to chuck up some problems, then we might need to update information saying to let them know you'll turn up in Discovery either with a populated search bar or an unpopulated one. But either way, don't panic. You're in Discovery.
Yeah, I think it's just helpful because even in this blank one, you've got the top right-hand corner saying My EBSCO. It's not My Discovery.
Yeah, that's true, actually, isn't it? That's true. That's because it's linking to a broader EBSCO profile that they can use to act if they